Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the budgeting workshop. Thanks for your patience. Sorry, I had to jump from another workshop over here, so maybe I saw you in the last one. But here we are talking all things dollar bills and how to make your gap year work for you and how do you budget for it? Because I think this is something that we need to talk about. We need to talk about money. It's a thing. It's real. And so I really want to talk about, like, let's clear the air. Let's get a couple things just right off the table, right off the bat. And that's going to make this conversation, go so much smoother. So let's start with the money myth. Gap years don't have to be expensive. Okay, a lot of people, they think about this like Hollywood version, this Malia Obama version, where it's got tens of thousands of dollars behind it, and that you've got to put on a backpack and travel around the world for a year, and like that stuff costs money. So let's just call it out that there is a gap year for any budget. So we have people on their gap years who work for their entire gap year. So instead of actually spending money, they're actually earning money. So it could be a net positive year. There are programs that are free. There are programs that have small fees associated with it, and there's ones that have larger price tags. The price is not necessarily a reflection of the quality of the program. If you have the financial means to invest lots of money in your gap year, all the power to you. That is totally fair, and like take advantage of that, because some of the programs with the higher price tags offer extremely valuable opportunities. But if that's not you, if you don't have deep pockets or unlimited budget, there are things that you can do that are accessible to you. So gap years from a financial perspective are for everyone. Just wanted to be totally clear on that. They are for everyone. It can be done on any budget. Okay, very important to know. The next thing that we got to talk about is the fact that stuff costs money. That's the way that the world works. That's how we show value for things. That's how we invest in things. We've created a currency of doing that. We used to barter, and that was still paying for things, just in a different way. And I know a lot of people they don't like that. They think money is evil. They think money is bad. And that paying for things, you shouldn't have to. You should be able to do everything free through YouTube, or get all the free downloads that you could ever possibly want. And you should be able to like bootstrap it and like do it on the free. And I think that that's possible. Is that the easiest path? Heck no. Are you going to come up against a lot of barriers? Heck yes. But the reality is that things cost money. You want to eat, you got to pay for your food. You want clothes, you got to buy your clothes. You want a really good professional development opportunity, there might be a fee associated with that. So let's just call it what it is. Money is money. Money is a way that we have transactions, and it is neither good nor bad. I want you to adopt that. I think that will serve you really well. It took me a long time in my life, and I know I still struggle with that, that money is just a way that we show value. And the last one always blows my mind, because money is a renewable resource. Okay, this isn't fossil fuel. Once the money is gone, it's not like we can never ever get it again, or we have to wait 100,000 years for more dinosaurs to die and fossilize and turn into crude oil. Like that's not what money is. Money flows. Money comes and money goes. And on your gap year, you have the opportunity to earn money and you have the opportunity to spend money. And I think that the more that we can be aware of that, the more that we can embrace that, I think that that's really helpful for us. So I'd love to know in the chat if that resonates with you. Like, does that like blow your mind, or what? And I think that especially for young people, especially for people who've never had like a full-time paycheck, for people who are reliant on their parents for money, that idea that money is a renewable resource can be really revolutionary, and it can change the way that you see things. When you go out and you buy that coffee, it's not like you're never ever going to get that $3 back. You're going to be able to go out and work and earn $3. And so it is something that is just going to flow. And I think if we can embody and understand these 4 points, the rest of this conversation is going to go really, really well. I love this. This just makes me so happy because it's important to know that you need to invest in yourself in your gap year. It's just, again, something that we need to be okay with. Once we realize that money comes and goes and that it's how we show value, don't we value ourselves? And shouldn't we value ourselves? So it can be very strange to ask your parents for money to take this course or to participate in this program or to invest in getting a mentor or a coach, or buying into the Gap Year game plan, even the year-long community that we run for people on gap years. That can feel weird because money's bad, but it's not. And investing in yourself is not bad. And whether you realize it or not, you or your parents have been doing this your entire life. Okay. If you've ever been on a soccer team, that costs money. If you took driver's ed, that costs money. If you needed a tutor, if you participated in school sports, all of these things, if you needed Kumon, all of these things are investments in yourself, something that somebody paid money so that you could have an experience or you could gain a skill or you could learn something. I think that is so important that we put into context when we're thinking about our gap year. This is a year of personal and professional development. People pay tens of thousands of dollars in professional development every single year to help them grow and learn. And so we need to be open to that, not tens of thousands of dollars necessarily, but maybe $100 here, maybe $100 there. But I think that's really, really important. And thanks, AG, for sharing. AG, thanks for sharing that. You can only save so much, but your ability to earn is limitless. You got it. And you can't take that money to the grave with you. It does nothing for you. But those relationships that you form, those experiences that you have, those things have some additional value to you. So this is where we're at. But let's talk about these 3 steps for budgeting. To really get the nuts and bolts down, I want to give you some straight up advice here. So step number 1 for budgeting for your gap year, we need to really, really understand what is available. Okay, so what money is there that you have access to? So let's check this out. So there are things that you have to be able to do. Look at what money is coming in. What is that money that you can access to use for your gap year? Do you or your parents or anybody have any savings? Is anybody going to be contributing to your gap year? Make a list, like make a straight up profits and loss. So look at what money is coming in, make a table. And in that first column, put earnings, put money coming in, whatever you want. But in that first column, brainstorm all of the places that the money's coming in and make an estimate as to what you think you might be able to bring in. So maybe you have $1,000 in your bank account. Maybe your parents have said that they are prepared to give you $500 towards your gap year. Whatever those things are from a savings perspective, put them down. Second, what do you think you're going to be able to earn? I think is really interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why my screen is gone. It shouldn't be gone. I can still see it. If it comes back, we'll just roll with it because there's nothing I can do about it because I can see it. So let me know when it comes back, Jazz. That would be super helpful. The next thing is savings and is earning. So what are you going to be able to earn? And AG, if you wanted to share what you shared with us in the last session, that would be awesome. Would love to love for you to share that because you are capable of earning a lot of money on your gap year. So think about that. What do you think you're going to be able to earn? The next thing on the list, if you can't see it yet, is the contributions of others. So who is going to be contributing to this? Is grandma going to be doing something for you? Thanks, Sharon. Is grandma going to be supporting you? Is your uncle going to be supporting you? Are your friends going to be getting on board with your gap year? What are the ways that other people are going to be able to support you financially on this gap year? And the last thing to think about is gifts. Do you traditionally get gifts for your birthday or for a particular holiday, Chinese New Year, Christmas, Diwali, whatever you're celebrating? If you receive gifts, can you ask for a financial contribution towards your gap year? Or can you ask for gifts that you would have spent money on? Maybe you need a new backpack if you're going to be traveling. Maybe you need a new camera if you're going to be doing photography on your gap year. So are there opportunities for others to contribute through gifts that they would traditionally give you anyways? So think about all those ways that money is coming in. Here's the pro tip. You need to be creative when you're thinking about this. Don't just think inside the box. If all you can see is your minimum wage job, you're missing tons of opportunities. So you really, really need to think outside the box. Who is contributing? What does that look like? Where can I find this money? All of these pieces can be really, really helpful and take your gap year budget from something super small to something that might be a little bit bigger for you. But moving into step 2, obviously, if we know what's coming in, now we need to create a list of where is it going. Now, when we start to make this list, when we start to work on this second column here, I want you to put it all on that page. And this is your ideal list, okay? This is what you would, in your dream scenario, if your budget was $100 million, where is the money going? I want you to think about what experiences you want to have, what things you might want to buy, what travel you want to do. Maybe there's a certain goal you have for saving for your education. What is that goal for you? Are there any courses that you want to take? Is there a tuition or an entrance fee for that? And do you have any living expenses? I don't want to say this too loud, but are mom and dad going to tell you need to pay for your own cell phone bill or charge you rent now that you're not a student? What are those expenses that you may have on your gap year? And make a really, really extensive list and put numbers associated to them. It doesn't need to be perfect, but what is your guess? What is your best estimate around what those are going to say? Now let's jump into some pro tips here. Right away, I don't want you to judge or filter and say, oh, I could never go to Australia. It's just not in my budget. You don't know that yet. Put it down on your sheet and just put down the numbers that it's going to cost you. You don't necessarily know. So don't judge, don't filter, just put it down. And then when we get to stage 3, then you're going to start to filter, but put it all down there. I think it's really, really important for you to do that. So get that in there, get it down, and don't filter and don't judge when you're working on step 2. So step 1, what's coming in? Step 2, what's going out and where is it going? So put that all in there for yourself. Now, step 3 is how do we bring 1 and 2 closer together? The reality is that your numbers are not going to match. Your expenses are going to be way higher than what's coming in. I can almost guarantee it. If I was a betting person, I would put money on it that your expenses are going to be way higher than what you're bringing in. And you know what? That's okay. That's normal because you have to do some work to figure out how are you going to bring those 2 numbers closer together. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about in this next bit. Step 3 is really, really, really the most important part because we want you to have those goals and have those dreams. And we want you to find ways to make them accessible and make them possible for you. We don't want your gap year to be sitting on the couch doing nothing because you can't afford it. That is not an option. You need to spend time in step 3 to figure out how can we bring those closer together. Okay, Michelle, stop talking about what you need to do. Tell me how to do that. How do you make money magically appear? Or how do you make these things happen? So we've got a couple things that we can do. Number 1, you can look for more money. So more sources of income. So that's adding to that left-hand column there. All the things of the ways money is coming in. You can look for scholarships or grants. There are opportunities out there. And I talked about 3 of them in the initial session because there were some questions around it. But things like the Travel Access Project. That is one grant that is specifically for gap years. There is the Youth Travel Foundation that gives money for specifically for travel. And there is the RBC Future Launch Scholarship, which is $1,500 for something that is going to help you towards your future. So that could be buying a camera if you want to be a photographer. That could be paying for some sort of international volunteer experience. That could be for taking some sort of course to learn how to become a pastry chef. These are sources that are out there. There is money available for you in those particular options to bring more money in. Maybe you need to work more, or maybe you need to find yourself a job that pays more. Factory work pays really, really well. Maybe it's not career oriented for you, but maybe that's a way that you can make things more possible. Maybe that part-time job needs to turn into something that is much larger than a part-time job. Maybe it needs to be a full-time job, or maybe you need 2 or 3 part-time jobs. There are so many different ways that you can bring more money in. The next thing that you can look at is, how do you reduce costs? And I see AG here commenting in the comments about this, and Jasmine chiming in as well. How do you reduce costs? So look at that second column there. Maybe you wanted to go to Australia for 6 months. Maybe once you look at the budget for that, you realize, you know what? Not going to happen. That's going to be too costly. Maybe I need to travel for a shorter amount of time. So you can shorten the amount of time that you want to have a larger experience. Maybe you want to actually change the location. So instead of going to Australia, maybe you're going to go to, I don't know, the Yukon. Maybe that's something that you can do that's a little bit more accessible. Maybe you wanted to go on a beach vacation to Mexico, and that's not going to work out. Maybe you want to go to PEI instead. So think about traveling locally instead, where you don't have to worry about exchanges in currency. Maybe you can drive instead of taking a flight, or take the train. Lots of opportunities within Canada to really, really grow and do it in a very economical way. Maybe you want to stay with friends. There's lots of different opportunities out there. And as AG was saying, there's lots of programs where you can exchange your labor in exchange for room and board. So there's an organization called Workaway that allows people to post projects that they're working on that they need some additional manual or physical labor with, that you can sign up for. So let's say you're going to be in France and somebody is redoing their floor, but they need some help doing it. You can go and stay with them, and they'll feed you and give you a place to stay, and you just help them with the project that they're working on. So lots of really, really interesting ways to do that through Workaway. Other folks can do it through woofing. WWOOFING. That is working on organic farms. There's lots of stuff that you can do there as well. I think that's a really great way to do it. You can also get a working holiday visa through IEC. So they have a spot in the expo that you can check out for International Experience Canada. Get a visa and actually work in another country. So you're earning money, and there's I always say you can stay home and you can serve coffee at Tim Hortons, or you could go and serve cafe on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. And you can actually work in those countries and getting similar experience, but doing it in a broader context, which I think is really, really interesting. I also say look for government funded programs. So we're so fortunate to live in Canada, where the government funds some incredible youth programs. So there's a bunch of funding that has been put out through the Canadian Service Corps, and that funds incredible programs like the Explore program. Sorry, not the Explore program, the Katimavik program. So it actually greatly reduces the cost of participating in these longer programs. So for the 5-month Katimavik program, the cost is only $1,000 for 5 freaking months. That's amazing. They also fund programs for the Canadian Wildlife Federation. So the Conservation Corps, again, bringing that cost way down. The Explore and the Odyssey programs are partially subsidized by the government for promoting second language language acquisition in French and English. Like those things are so amazing that you can look for. And then look for free versions of things that might exist out there. So maybe you wanted to learn French and you wanted to go to France to learn that, and that's just not in the budget. Well, maybe there is a free French learning app that you can do it in, and maybe it's not as sexy, but you can, instead of going to France, you do this, you learn the language through the app, and then you plan a trip to Montreal or Quebec City, and you get to use that French language that you've acquired through the app. There's lots of really cool things that you can do through free versions of things. So I think that's another cool thing to think about. So there are just so many ways that we can really work to bring those two elements of budgeting closer and closer together. And it's just about being creative and thinking about it and thinking about what your priorities are. So I always say to set those goals first, and I'm going to come back to it 100 million times. But if your goal for your gap year was to learn French and you thought you wanted to go to France to do it, but that's not financially attainable, think about what that experience was. Was it the fact that you wanted to be in France? Or was it that you wanted to learn a language? Or was it that you wanted to build independence? So let's say it was that you wanted to be in France, and maybe taking a French language course isn't going to work because you don't have the money for it. Maybe you want to become an au pair instead and live with a French family and help the kids learn English and take care of the kids, and you actually get paid for it. So maybe that's a way you can go and spend time in France. Maybe your goal was to learn French, and we talked about finding a free app. Maybe you want to join the Explore program that happens within Canada, and again is subsidized by the government in order for that to happen. So if you want to learn French, maybe that's a better choice. And if you wanted to become independent, maybe heading all the way to France isn't the way to do that on a tighter budget. Maybe you want to rent an Airbnb for a month and do it in your hometown and live independently from your parents for a while. And maybe that's how you're going to check off that goal. So being aware of your goals and then thinking creatively about how can I actually achieve this goal is going to be something that is really helpful for you. Now, we've only got 4 minutes left, so I'm just going to make sure that you know that you can follow us on any of the social platforms. We do have an incredible a Discord server that you can join, which is a community of people. And Jazz, if you can pop in, thank you. The link for that. It's a great resource to get ideas, to share ideas, to connect with other people on gap years. You can check out our gap year ambassadors sharing some like wicked tips about how they've done on their gap years. So follow us on our YouTube channel. Jump on to IG. We're constantly giving lots of information and lots of really great resources to help you on your journey. So please don't hesitate to follow us on all of those platforms. We can really help you on your journey, which is really great. Now, if you have questions, pop them into the chat. Like I said, I am here to answer your questions. If you have things you want, suggestions on how to do it on the cheap, these are all things that are possible. And I'm here to answer any of those questions that you might have. I would also encourage you to head over to the expo, and you've got lots of time to do that. We have kept this open, and the expo will be live for you, so you can jump in there and check out all of the incredible organizations that are out there. Tons and tons of stuff for you to check out. One thing I did forget to mention that I'm going to add here is ask for financial aid from different organizations. So if you are registering for a formal program of some kind, make sure you check out what their financial aid situation is. Some organizations offer it on a needs base. So if you do have financial need and you can justify that, they'll be able to help offset the cost of that. So for example, our gap year game plan, we want it to be accessible to everyone. And if you don't have the financial means, let us know. We have scholarships available for you. And there, Jazz is popping that in there. We are here to help you plan your gap year, whether it's the budget, whether it's connecting with the right experiences, whether it's building community. That's what we are here to do. That's what our job is as a nonprofit. That's what we want to be able to help you with. So look for those financial aid opportunities with those programs, because I can tell you that thousands and thousands of dollars go unclaimed because people aren't asking if they exist. So even if that organization or that program has a giant price tag, there is no shame or no harm in asking what the financial aid opportunities are. So even programs that have giant price tags, I'm going to say like Class Afloat, they have fully funded scholarships for folks. You just got to get out there and you got to ask and you got to know those deadlines. So check that out. I am so grateful that you guys have joined me here today, and so grateful, and Jazz is so grateful. We are so excited that this has been part of your Saturday. Stick around, check out the expo. Let us know if you have any other questions. Jazz and I are incredible resources for you. Book a call with us, check out all the resources, and we can't wait to support you on your gap year journey. So that brings us to the end of our formal sessions, but we do invite you to stick around, check out the expos, click on the buttons that says more information or send me more information, whatever that button is over on the left-hand most side. That will let those organizations know that you're interested, and they will reach out to you with additional information. So you're not signing up for the program, you're just getting some more information from them. So definitely check that out. But thanks for joining us, and have yourself a wonderful end of your day.